Give me a second. Let's instantly throw up the live. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? YouTube, Discord. W Nick, what's up, Chance? Yes, sir. What's up, Luxie? Lexi, guys. Let's have a good day today. Again, what's up, crew? Let's have a good day today. Again, you guys know yesterday we did take a trade on NQ. Honestly, it ran beautifully. Okay, other than the fact that I did get taken out at break even, but I know a lot of you guys did end up closing some partials. We did end up running, getting super close to our TP before price did end up continuing to sell off, but that's fine. Let's do it, J King. So let's see what I'm looking at for NASDAQ. All right, first things first, we did end up coming bearish. All right, that's the first thing that I do end up seeing, but I'm liking these hourly candles, or at least for potential buys. Yes, we do have room to completely sell off, but I'm kind of just looking at this and getting the idea that we are bullish on the lower time frames. And we can see that clear as day. We are within this last 5-minute bullish leg. But one thing we can look for, and what I'm already seeing and already liking, is the fact that that 1 minute is seemingly bearish. So if we end up getting a pullback of this bearish leg, which looks like we already are having a pullback, we're into that 50%. I would want to look for sells to the downside, okay, to facilitate that pullback of that 5-minute bullish expansion. But it's just a matter of, are we going to get that right now? Okay, we definitely could get that, just because, again, like I have to wait for London Open. That's just the way I trade. I'd want to see price, again, like it could just react and go without us right now, but it could come a little bit deeper to take some liquidity, and we could take a reaction off 71% back down. So again, there's still potential to take these sells, even though the pullbacks are already kind of occurring. But again, even if price does sell off too early and it comes down to somewhere within here, we could wait for a 1 minute change of character and look for 1 minute buys back to the upside. So as far as UK 100, again, I did not take sells last night. The reason I did not take sells is because we never had that pullback into equilibrium. Well, we actually did have the pullback into equilibrium. Sup, George? But it just came at way too late of a time. It literally came at 11:50 a.m. PST. I was expecting it to come way earlier, but we just saw price start continuing lower. But ultimately, I am still expecting sells. The reason I'm still expecting sells is yesterday kind of just confirmed that we are now internally bearish. We're having that pullback still, and I do think we could see price still come lower to facilitate that pullback of that 4-hour leg. Okay, again, keep in mind, this is a big reason why we're targeting sells, is because of this leg here, right? This overextended leg, or even if it wasn't necessarily overextended yet, we know that it's been bullish for a while. We broke, or we made a new area, or we broke structure, sorry, I can't talk, made a new high, and ultimately we can expect price to facilitate a pullback before it goes higher, if it even goes higher. But again, we don't necessarily care if it goes higher after that pullback. All we care about is catching that pullback. So I can go down to the lower time frames, and it actually looks good here, where we are seeing the break of this low here. Not like a crazy strong low, but ultimately we're seeing price come lower. If we see price create or facilitate some type of pullback within this leg, and then we see a rebreak of these lows at open, I will shoot at a rebreak of these lows, guys, 100%. But I do want to see price come to at least equilibrium. Scalp the quick 70 fire. As far as DAX, okay, let's go over DAX. DAX did end up selling off, guys. I did tell you I was expecting sells. We did end up selling off pretty damn well down into here. There just wasn't any setups for me. What morning, which ones are we trading? We're trading NQ, UK 100, and DAX. NQ is the only market offered on legacy funded. So if you guys wanted to trade legacy, then of course that's why I trade NQ, but I also trade on my live account UK 100 and DAX. And a lot of people do trade on their live accounts with me. And if you guys are interested in or need a live account, you can always DM me on Instagram or Discord, and I can get you over the broker I use. All right, logged in there. But let's go into the DAX breakdown real quick. So again, I did expect sells last night. I told you guys that, but there was just no setup within the lower time frames. We didn't really have confirmation, and price just ended up selling off. That is what it is, right? But now it's facilitated a deep enough pullback that we could most likely see price start to go higher. And I do think we may start seeing that today. The only thing about this setup that I'm kind of iffy on is the fact that if we look at it from like a 5-minute point of view, we see that price was creating these new lows here. Okay. Finally broke that low, and we finally broke structure here. So this is the low that we're playing off of. We never facilitated the pullback on this first initial pullback. We did have a slight pullback, but we never came deep enough to come into equilibrium. So this means we technically have to expand our range here, because since it didn't complete that full pullback, this still is the same leg. It still has not created a new higher high or higher low. It may look like it, but ultimately to me it just extends our range. So I would want to take buys if price, like potentially came up like this, but the reason I'm hesitant on it is because I have a feeling price may come a little bit lower in order to maybe take out Tokyo lows, and then we could see price flip back to the upside here. So I do think we could still see buys. Like we may just see buys off the rip here. And if that's the case, honestly, I'd rather wait and sit on my hands than impulsively get in this trade, knowing that price could come up, fake us out, come down, and then come up later in the night. It's just not necessarily worth it, I'd say. Ultimately, if it does end up just ripping from here, again, I just use that as data as a potential factor to force me to enter, going into future trades. But ultimately, just based off how structure looks, I do think we have too much of a probability of coming down deeper to facilitate that pullback, take some liquidity before actually seeing that move higher. But ultimately, I am expecting buys here, but we'll see as price goes on. And we could actually enter like at a rebreak of these highs, depending on how far price comes down low. It may be a bigger stop loss, like a 90-point stop loss, but the reason I'm actually comfortable with that is because ultimately I expect price to come up and retake these highs up here. The reason I expect it to come up and retake these highs is because, as you can see, we've been trending bullish. We had a break structure, pullback, break a structure, pullback, break a structure, pullback. So in theory, what's most likely to happen next is that next break a structure and that continuation of that bullish trend. So that's why I would be comfortable with that big of a stop loss and ultimately playing like more of a long game. But ultimately, if we did get in this trade down here, it would have to come down here first, guys. I'm not just going to take a break these highs. I would expect or look for New York to definitely give it some extra push. Oh, fuck. Looks like we're not trading today. That's ugly. That kind of pisses me off too, though, because UK 100 looks so fucking good, guys. This is the one day of the month. Literally, there's only one day of the month that we ever have to worry about news, guys, and it is today. It's annoying. We have some orange folder. We have some red folder. Is there DAX on Top Step? I don't believe. Most futures platforms don't offer UK 100 or DAX. And I always ask why, and they always tell me they just don't want me rinsing them. Something like that. It's because they all watch the live streams. Well, it looks like NAS ended up playing out, which again, I honestly can see why. Because again, what we see? We saw price print up. We saw price eventually break that low. We had a pullback into equilibrium, and it continued lower. If we could have entered here, we could have entered like something like this, and we would already be at break even, but ultimately I don't enter before letting it open. So now that we have come down into the equilibrium of this 5-minute leg, what am I going to wait for? I'm going to wait for price to either, one, just absolutely blow through this and show that we definitely are not going to go bullish for today, or react off some type of level within here, have a 1-minute change of character, and then play that 1 minute back up. That's definitely what I'd be looking for. But I definitely won't be looking for sells anymore unless price absolutely just dumps through this entire range. But at that point, price may just leave without us. Honestly sucks, guys. Like, it's going to be one of those nights. I think after news has settled, why is my session disconnect? Who's on my fucking trading view? After news has passed, guys, I do think from that point on, we could still see a trade. So if like DAX does end up coming down, facilitating a pullback, coming higher, and breaking structure after news, I'm still going to shoot here. But like the one thing that like I definitely don't like is the fact that we're about to see news. Excuse me. Is the fact that we have news for. It's only showing that for some reason. Hold on. How you guys been though? Yeah, ready? Ready for UK Open? I'm ready too. It's just I don't like that there's news, guys. Like I really am not a fan of that. But like this setup looks very fucking good. I like it. I mean, obviously, like we could still continue bullish within like this bullish trend. But if we were to facilitate that pullback and break another low to the downside at that point, I really do think we'll continue to sell off just because from a higher time frame standpoint, we look very solid for sells. But we'll see. Again, news could absolutely just fucking. Here's the thing with trading with news. It's like, I definitely would want to enter here. Because, again, like, typically when we deal with news, like, there has been times when it has been very much, like, it does affect the markets. And there's times where it doesn't really affect the markets. So, at that point, like, we could still enter. But I'd want this to be like ideal as fuck. Like I'd want to see price like print higher at London Open, have some type of nasty top wick rebalancing this entire balance, and then we just see a flip in price. If we saw that, I'd probably enter. But other than that, like we'll be watching NASDAQ. I'm waiting for a price to rip higher, and we play that 1 minute trend once it flips bullish. Excuse me. Let's kill it today, though, guys. Again, yesterday was still a great day. Still had a nice little winning trade, but I'm looking for some more. Yesterday, no daily top wick. I see a top wick here, at least on mine. We had a nasty bottom wick, but ultimately, like, we are still bearish, at least internally bearish. JJ King, sadly, Legacy doesn't offer UK 100. Most futures prop firms don't offer UK 100, but we are trading NQ. So I do think if we see a nice little setup, we will be taking NQ. Is Chris doing NY stream tomorrow morning? I think he is. He should be. I don't see why he wouldn't. He should be. Is NQ and UK 100 similar? Not really. I mean, they're both indices. Both indices. There's a lot of fucking news tomorrow, guys. Or today, I guess I could say. That could ultimately be bad for NQ too, guys. Like, we could see a lot of consolidation. And the price can just be building up a lot of liquidity before. How much time did I got? All right. Before tomorrow's news calls. When will news come out? News is going to come out. We have orange folder, which shouldn't be too impactful, at 12:15. We have red folder at 12:30. We have some at 1:30 a.m. And then tomorrow we have 5:30. We have GDP, which is pretty gnarly. And we also have PMI at 6:45. So definitely tomorrow morning is going to be something to pay attention to. All right, so we're getting that pre open volume that we usually see. And let's just see how price reacts. Let's see if we just see price instantly shoot back down. But ultimately, this could just give us an idea of what price is going to do. And again, if it does end up pushing bullish, that's fine, because if it does push bullish, we know at some point it'll definitely look to come back down, and we can potentially play that setup later on. Again, my overall bias from a higher time frame standpoint is for sales, just based off the fact that we're overextended. We're now internally bearish within this leg. And this is just most likely a pullback to go lower. Ultimately, like, yes, price can definitely just rip higher here. A lot of that most likely would be due to news. But that's a big factor right now that I'm just like not really. Oy. See, like we facilitated the pullback. If we were to just rip, guys, like I'm almost tempted to enter here. I really am on DAX, guys. Obviously, I'm not going to enter yet, but buys look pretty fucking nice, especially with that type of reaction. Obviously, this entry here, we've been doing fairly good. Actually really good this month with UK 100 and DAX. I should pay attention here. Looks like we are going to get that bullish reaction. All I'm waiting for is a break of this high. So UK 100 is definitely out of the picture as of right now. DAX is definitely in the picture. And the reason is, again, we just facilitated the pullback of this bullish expansion. We came deep enough within equilibrium. And again, this is all we need to go. Like, we can come deeper, but seeing the reaction off 50%, it tells us that price or buyers are going to hold at this level. And if we just see a lot of bullish volume from there on out, I'm most likely going to shoot here, guys. It's a nice trade. All we need is one, obviously, our 101 to begin with, and then we can go to break even. But again, like, take this at your own risk. The reason I'm a little bit more comfortable taking this, one is it's my setup. But the only factor that's really like coming in between everything is news, guys. So that's where I say take it at your own risks. I'm not in yet. We may not even get entry if price just comes right back down. But again, I'm up very well for the month. I can put some risk on this trade. Obviously, I'm not going to risk more. But what's up, Johnny Sec? I'm not going to risk more if we do end up entering. But if we do end up losing here, it's not really going to affect me. So. And we still look solid on UK 100 too, though. Still look solid. I can't lie to you. Fuck. Like, I really like UK 100. I like UK 100 more than DAX. How do you get stop loss in TP? All you have to do is go over here next to the 1 minute and chart type, and press this down arrow, and it'll be on trade LMT. Trade, change it to trade bar, and it'll open this up, and then you just turn your TP and stop loss on, and you can change it to whatever. Change your contracts up here, and you're chilling. I don't like that we're moving in different directions though on DAX and UK 100. I'm not saying we always move the same, but ultimately I feel like with the news calls coming out and usually it having an effect to both markets, one of them's going to be right, one of them's going to be wrong, truly. And I have a feeling we are just going to end up buying here, so we may hold off on UK 100 for now, guys. I may hold off until we see another break of a low and pull back. But at the end of the day, like, we could be missing out on the move there. But this is a good reaction. We came up into this order block. I think we already tapped it though. Yeah. But even if we just came up to take these highs and treat it as liquidity, that's actually still fire. How many ticks do you usually use for stop loss? Well, with NQ, I'm a fixed stop loss. I only do a 10-point stop loss, 20-point TP. Quick little 1 and 2. That's all I look for. But obviously, like, we need to see my setup. So nothing crazy big and nothing crazy small. And plus, it's not as volatile as New York. So, like with New York, I can understand having a 25 to 50 point stop loss. Here is like, yeah, it does move. You know, there has been times we got wicked out and price went our direction, but typically a 10 point stop loss is what we need. How did news come out? Oh, it hasn't come out yet. Oh, fuck. I thought it came out right at 12. Alright, guys. Enki looks good. Enki looks good, but I want to see a break of this high first, and obviously a pullback down deeper, and then we'll look for that continuation of that bullish trend. I'm still hesitant here, guys, especially with news still like not out yet. We're going to see some at 15, which is only orange folder, but then we'll see more at 12:30, which is our red folder news. And again, like that ultimately could push price in our direction, but it also could just absolutely fucking kill us. Obviously we're not in yet, so it wouldn't matter, but you know what I'm saying. I'm waiting for this here, guys. Yeah, it could be pre-news, and it could just be worth not taking it, to be honest. Just because, again, like we've already done fairly well this month, and at the end of the day, like, yes, like I can take this trade and not really have it affect me all too much, but at the same time, like, you know, like we're still crashing here. I don't think I'm gonna take UK 100 even if we break these lows, guys. I don't think I am. I'd rather see price break these lows, and then if we see another pullback and continuation, I will enter that. Even if that means missing out on a trade. And what I mean is if price just absolutely fucking dumps after breaking these lows, then so be it, right? It tells us, again, like maybe we should have entered. But the biggest factor is, one, price action. Like technically we are still within a bullish expansion leg. Therefore, like that's really where the risk is at too. So no, I'm not in a trade yet, but I'm expecting a trade, most likely on NQ. Like I want to take these guys, I so do. Especially that's New York low. I'm not jumping in, guys. I'd rather let this trade play out. Fire. No volume? Aw, shit. Nah, nothing yet. Ultimately, NASDAQ, we still have not. So here's the thing. The reason I waited for this break of structure, guys, is because exactly what's happening right now is, one, being that, first things first, like this first pullback that we had, broke structure here, had a pullback into equilibrium, which is all we need, expanded further. So what does that mean? That means technically this is our new 1 minute bearish leg. So this is most likely why price came up, reacted at this point, and then is now continuing lower, which ultimately this would have been a good entry. This would have been a good entry here. But the reason I'm not going to take sells at that point is because, again, looking at a higher time frame, we're bullish within this 5 minute expansion. We've already completed a pullback, or at least deep enough where the probabilities decrease for sells continuing to happen. Obviously, sells can continue to happen, and we just saw an example of that, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to play out like that. So yes, if we would have taken this, we probably would have won, right? 100%. actually, we would have got taken out. We would have gotten taken out on the first entry at least. But even if we took a second entry, we would have won. This doesn't always necessarily happen to the point where we're selling. What's my TP for NQ? It's only 80 ticks, but I'm not in. But going back, I was saying this isn't always going to happen. Yes, it can, because we're ultimately internally bearish. But that's why, again, I wait for that break of structure, because once we see that break of structure where price doesn't hold at this high and breaks it, that tells me price is no longer internally bearish and we're now internally bullish, and we can expect price to continue higher, especially with the 5 minute in our favor. All right, guys, so we did break these lows. If we do end up coming up here, facilitating a pullback and breaking another low, I think I will give it a shot. But obviously we need to see the pullback. Just like yesterday, we could see price just absolutely tank, especially with news. News could ultimately affect the markets too, and we just see price run our direction. But now that we've created another low and we're just like seeing this continuation of internal price action, and then with the higher time frames in favor for sells, I think it would be worth taking it, truly. So just the continuation of one. We saw price have this bearish expansion, continuation back lower. But again, not taking this first setup could have cost us. It truly could have. But we'll end up seeing. DAX dumping, yeah. I'm not in DAX, guys. Again, like same thing with DAX. I need to see the break of those highs. It tells me a lot. Because price can go deeper than the equilibrium. It's just the equilibrium is a point of interest, because that's all price needs to come down into. That's one thing to remember. Did anyone get in UK 100 sales? I know George did. I'm in sales fire. Again, just because I don't take them, guys, doesn't mean you don't need to take them. Like, I love that you guys still take trades sometimes, because it's a good analysis. Like, we know that price should end up selling off. But just with news, like, I'm almost debating not even taking a trade. Even if price does facilitate a pullback and does come back and re-break lows. But the only reason I'd probably consider it if it actually facilitated a pullback and re-broke lows is because at that point, we were just following internal bearish structure so beautifully that it'd be stupid for me not to take it. Even if we took a loss, I'd want to take that. What's Nas doing? Still coming deeper. Again, like, I would have been interested in sells if it was higher up, but we're already within a pullback, guys. It's not worth taking sells anymore until price breaks these lows. And even then, after we break these lows, guys, I would most likely look for a pullback entry. Yeah, I also don't have the data on news days yet. I wanted to give them a chance. Yeah, that's totally fine. Get the data necessary. Well, we are having that pullback, guys. News is about to come out very soon. The first news call is on the orange folder, so we probably won't see too big of an effect. But let's ultimately see. Not in, but we could get in, depending on how price prints here. I need that pullback to happen. I really had high hopes in NASDAQ, but again, it didn't give us entry. Right there. Ultimately, we still can. Now we need to see a break of these highs. Since this high did lead to a break of structure, this is our new high. So if we then now come up, break this high, we can potentially play those buys back up. But but I think we'll definitely get an entry here on NASDAQ. I hate news days. And like the thing is, guys, like I hate news days, and you would think that I wouldn't care. Like I do, I don't care. But being that we actually only deal with news once a month when we trade London session, you would think I wouldn't care, like I just said. But I actually do care, because it's like, it's always that day that I'm looking forward to trading. I look forward to trading every day, but it's always those days that I'm like, we're going to back out today. We have a great setup. It's always the days with news that we have the best looking setups, but we just have to play it just even more precautious, or not even trade those days because of that news days, you know? And I know New York traders deal with that shit fucking probably like twice a week, but like we never deal with news. Never. What lows do I think NAS can potentially hit? Like if NAS were to sell off, like it's definitely going to take these lows here. Oops, backwards arrow. It will definitely take those lows there if it is going to sell off. But ultimately, I'm not going to sell, even though like we are seeing, I have to pay attention here. All right, we had news come out. Facilitated the pullback. I would like to see it fill this imbalance. All right, going back to NAS. So even though we are internally bearish, and there's a lot, like we still see price reacting in a bearish manner, the reason I would wait and not personally get in sells is because we're still bullish within this 5-minute time frame. So ultimately, just looking at this price action, we could see price still continue higher. That's just where I'm kind of leaning more towards buys until lower time frames are giving us a different picture. But we see this for value gap that was kind of created. Price initially within the first hour did react off of it. If this candle closes beneath it, we're probably going to sell off. Okay, I don't necessarily pay attention for value gaps, but that just gives me an idea, you know, that price will most likely continue to sell off. If we end up bottom wicking coming back up, which I do think will most likely happen, then, you know, we still shoot for those buys there. But this is where sometimes like NAS can suck, especially because like the way I trade is like, yes, like I said, I could have taken these sells here, but at what cost? They played out today, but what if they didn't play out? And that's something that a lot of people don't understand, especially is like when they're like just back testing or something like that. And that's why I tell people like back testing is good, but what's super important is actual data. Like what I mean by actual data is like data from actual trades that you're taking in real time, like live. It doesn't have to necessarily be on a live account with real funds. It could be demo, but as long as you're taking these trades with live real-time emotions, because if you just look back at a trade and see, oh, this trade played out, one, you're probably only going to see the trades that play out, so you're not getting data on the ones that lose. And two, you don't know if you would have actually entered that if it was you trading it live. You really don't. And again, so like going back to this is where this is important, is because again, these sells played out. We could have taken them, but if they didn't play out, and I did go against my rules in the sense of understanding that the 5 minutes still bullish, therefore I need to play the 5-minute narrative, and I'm just looking for the 1 minute to align with it. It would have been borderline breaking my rules to take a trade that, again, did play out today, but may not have played out, you know, tomorrow or the next day. And the majority of times it won't. So we are dipping. So this is where news definitely did impact DAX here. We're doing the opposite. I don't like that. Minimum payout. Well, like you have to have 5 consistent days of 200. But like you don't want to like just take a payout with like 500 profit, I'd say. No, like once you pass it, you just have to have 5 consistent days of 200 plus profit on each trade, or at the end of the day, I believe, yeah, in order to request a payout, to show that you're actually consistent. You didn't just by luck pass the account. But also, guys, that reminds me, if you guys are interested in instant funding accounts, we are coming out with instant funding. So it is still kind of early access. So the only way to get them is to just DM me, and I can send you the information, the prices, the rules. And again, if you guys don't know what instant funding is you don't have to deal with the evaluation phase. You don't have to try to pass the account. You're instantly put into live trading. Yeah, the thing with Clarity is it's a Forex prop firm, JJ. So with futures, the beauty and like the main difference that I look at, like when I look at Forex and futures, is with Forex, you get hit with spread a lot. Meaning when you enter, you're not usually getting entered in at the price you desire to enter at. With futures, you are. If I want to enter right now, it's going to enter me in right now. Like I can go and just press like 1, or is the lowest I can do 2. Like if I wanted to enter, and I'm not actually entering, guys, this is just an example. It enters me in right where I entered. Okay. Like the no spread whatsoever. Made $3. On Forex, I would have lost money if I would have entered and closed that fast, to be 100% honest with you guys. But again, I'm not taking sells, even though sells do look good, guys. I'm not taking them. So I'd say try futures. If you want to go get an account through Legacy, you can use my code Nick for a 15% discount, or at least try futures, I should say. But again, going back to instant fundings, if you guys are interested in instant fundings, you can go and DM me on Instagram. You can DM me on Discord. I can send you over the information as far as the pricing, the rules. But again, it's a great way to just go just go straight into live trading. Don't have to deal with the evaluation. And then also you get a funded certificate as well. So if you want to like use that, go flex on your homies or something. But granted, the main goal with instant fundings is, again, you don't have to deal with the evaluation. You can just go straight into getting payouts. But yeah, you can DM me. And then also JJ, I don't know if you already have a futures account or like one with Legacy, or if you guys don't have a Legacy account, one thing you guys could do too, a lot of you guys already know, but every video I drop, I have a giveaway for a free 100K account. So all you got to do is comment, subscribe. But I pick one winner every video off of the comments. So I just pick one random comment. I risked $300, but that's solely because I have a 10-point stop loss. So, but I do 15 contracts on MNQ. Oh fuck. I definitely think it can. Like again, there's still sell potential. Like seeing this hesitation here is what definitely gives me, from like a higher time frame standpoint, leaning more towards sells. But it wouldn't be right for me to sell within this 5-minute bullish leg. It was like definitely considerable when we had not hit the equilibrium yet, like when we were up here. But and if we go back, we did have a setup actually, but it just did not happen at the right time. It happened before London Open, which again, that's ultimately data to tell me, okay, can I enter before London Open? Obviously I can do what the fuck I want, but at the end of the day, my system's based off not entering until London opens. But again, if situations like this continue to happen where we're seeing this bullish pressure or this bullish expansion, we finally break this low over here. We finally break this low. What do we see after that? If we drop a fib from the high to the low, we saw price pull up into equilibrium. Then we saw it sell off. this was optimal. This was the best situation possible, other than the fact that it didn't happen during London, because we would have entered at a break these lows, stops at 10 points, TP at 20. And the reason I would have been a lot more comfortable taking this is because at this point here, we had not yet hit the equilibrium of this leg. We did hit it on that bullish sell-off, but we hadn't hit it until then. And that just gives me a lot more confidence in the fact that we actually have a good target to target. That rejection on NAS is gnarly. With this order block, filled that imbalance, the rest of the imbalance. Again, we still could see some nice little bullish price action here. This isn't our high, guys. Again, let's go over this real quick. So again, I'm waiting for a break of a high, and I know we saw a slight pullback here, but the reason I'm not going to consider that a new high is because if we were to drop our fib, we never facilitated a pullback within that bearish leg. So therefore, I don't necessarily consider this a strong high. I'd rather wait for price to come up here into this high, break it, and then we look for that trade back up higher on the 1 minute. But we still could continue to react bullish. So, I mean, yeah, bullish. Still considering DAX. I haven't entered UK 100 because we never got a rebreak of those lows, and if we don't, then obviously I'm not going to enter. But like I said earlier, is we see DAX and UK 100, like now they're seemingly doing the same thing, but only, like, I can't say only one of them is going to be right. Like there has been times where they both move in opposite directions, but being that there's so much news coming out and both of these news calls or all of the news calls affect both markets, one's going to be right. So if we see UK 100 go higher, then okay, we can trade DAX because we can ultimately expect DAX to probably continue to fall along and go higher. And we actually have a buy setup ready for DAX. We actually have a buy bias, but our stops are going to be fucking massive here. But again, I'm fine with that. And the reason I'm fine with that is because we ultimately expect price to expand into these highs unless price has another objective, and that's to ultimately come lower within this pullback. But again, we can see examples here where price, again, here had a breakout, pulled back only to equilibrium, and then continued higher. So again, that's just an example of price doesn't necessarily always need to come deeper, and that's where I'd still be willing to take these buys. But I want to see how the 30-minute reacts first. Can't lie. Ooh. We're going higher. Nice. Let's see how that news at in 2 minutes reacts. I really do wish this was our high, but at the end of the day, there's a reason it's not. All right, see how this news reacts, guys, and we'll play off of that. 1 minute. But DAX has already looked like it's going higher, unless news just absolutely fucks us over. I'll most likely look to enter at a break of this high here. And if we go higher here, guys, I'll just hold back on buys. I mean on sales, sorry. Beautiful. We're expanding. All right, guys. So if we come up and see a break of this high, I'll instantly be looking for a pullback of this range, and then we can look for buys. Because again, 5 minutes bullish, 1 minute's gonna flip bullish. We can ultimately just expect price to continue bullish. If news just starts going crazy, which I really don't think it like will go crazy, then I'm just gonna hold back on entry. But if it's like subtle, yeah, I'll peep gold. Hold on. I hate gold though. We're definitely bullish right now. I'd expect buys to continue playing out, but like seeing price one being previously bearish and then we finally are breaking these highs here, we could see price have a momentary pullback before that continuation of price. But overall, I expect buys. I look, you think we'll see price go up here, guys. Again, guys, I will be taking these buys. It is a larger scale trade. Like, it will be something that I can definitely expect to sleep through. But again, I'm fine with that. Other than the fact that we have a lot of news, like that I don't necessarily like. Like when I say news, like later, like for USD. And obviously, like we won't see like a big impact, but it still definitely will impact these markets to a certain extent. And that could ultimately like cause price to just fucking dump on us. But if we see a nice bullish push from here, I do think we'll just continue higher. It'd be tragic if price just continued to sell. Either way, we didn't have entry, but so this last trading day of the week. It is last trading day of the week, guys. What the fuck? I didn't even realize that. I didn't even realize. Fuck, bro. What is Nas doing? Like, I can't lie. It's beautiful. It looks fucking phenomenal for sales. I just cannot take sales. Like, I can. Again, and we can do whatever we want, guys. But ultimately, it's just about, is it worth it? And I'm definitely still playing this bullish leg here. But the way price is reacting right now, this week did go by fast. But one thing I was going to say about NAS is if we do end up continuing lower, I don't want to say at that point we can expect price to just continue low and break these lows down here. But that definitely could be the case. But again, like I still can't be mad. Like this is definitely going to be something I can get data on. But ultimately, like I can go back to examples. We can maybe even go back to yesterday and see if it's a good example. No. I need to find a good example. on finding an example. Of course, I'm not seeing fuck all. That's whatever. London hasn't been the best. Okay, like here, I guess we can use this. So this bearish leg here. Same thing that's happening right now, but obviously in the opposite direction, where this bearish leg was bearish. I mean, what this 5-minute leg was bearish. We see that price pulled back, and we probably had good 1-minute price action within here. And again, we probably had buying opportunity, but what did price do? It ultimately followed along with the structure of that bearish leg, giving me the idea, or like, it doesn't just give me the idea of like for today's trade, but it's just that general idea of how price moves and playing the higher time frames is key, is where these sells just aren't as probable. But we'll see how price reacts on this 15-minute close. We had a nice little bottom wick prior to this. Looking at the higher time frames, like that, the higher time frames definitely, like higher than the 5-minute, could definitely be the reason price is looking to sell. Fuck. But I bet you if price does end up continuing, if price just continues lower, guys, I'm just going to call it a week there. Like we had a nice little trade yesterday. Not up crazy, but I mean, at the end of the day, like it's not worth taking these sells, at least not yet. But what I was going to say is price may end up breaking these lows potentially. And if it does, I don't doubt that we will see some 1-minute price action. 1, to facilitate that pullback. And then 2, as we come back down. So you can definitely stick around. Like I'm not leaving yet. But obviously, like if price does continue lower, I most likely will get off. But I'm going to give it this last opportunity, these last couple of minutes. If we do end up coming back up higher, breaking this high eventually, then okay, we can definitely continue to play that bullish structure. But if we don't, we got to stay a little bit strict to my rules, you know. But again, I want to show you guys good trading. Like, obviously, all the traders in here are showing you guys good trading. But, like, one thing with me is, like, I'm very big quality over quantity. Like, if you guys are new here, or let's just say if you're not new here, you guys know that already. Know that if I'm going to take a trade, like, I want to make sure it's a trade that I'm actually confident in. And I know like confidence isn't always necessarily going to be there, but in the sense of like if I'm not taking it on my own account, I'm not going to tell you guys to take a fucking trade. Like no, because at that point like I'm just bullshitting, you know, and that's not good trading behavior. But two, again, I want to be a role model in the sense of like what it actually takes to be a consistent long-term profitable trader. Is the days, the weeks, sometimes months where you got to sit on your hands and just let price do its thing because it's just not giving you what it wants. Granted, if you've been here all week, we've been fucking killing it on DAX and UK 100. I'll say that shit right now. We've actually been doing very good here. This is a great month, a great way to start the year. But NQ has definitely had its good days. It has had, oh my God, I can't talk. It's had more days of chop and no trade days than we have had days for entry, I could say. And again, that's just part of the game. But again, also if you guys are new, I just started trading NQ during London. So this is definitely a market that I'm looking to just get a lot of data from. Even if it's days like this where I am expecting buys, price just remain bearish. Again, I'm ultimately going to go and look back and see, okay, what was there that could have leaned me towards a sell bias? Was it the higher time frames that could have leaned me more towards a sell bias? Was it, you know, the lower time frames, something that I missed? Granted, on the lower time frames, we do look fairly bullish, but again, like that's where one, we have to just see what price does. And it's also very important to like go back later in the day. So like, let's say price just consolidates whatever and we just leave. I'm going to come back and see what price did. Did price ever break that high and continue bullish? Did we ever have entry, which is later on? Or did price end up coming lower, and we could have potentially taken this trend down with it. But obviously with taking that trend down, it comes into, conflict with our overall system and the understanding of the 5-minute structure. $15-minute had no top wick. Think NK still bearish price. Yeah, like obviously, like that's why I'm waiting for a break of a structure on the 1 minute. Profit target, like I just go for a $600 win. 1 to 2. I don't need much. But yeah, JJ, like again, like I'm still overall bearish, but that doesn't mean, like I want to continue to take sells, especially because again, like I'm bullish from a 5-minute standpoint. We had that bullish leg. We're having a pullback. In theory, we should continue higher if price's objective is to continue with that bullish structure. But obviously, within the 1 minute, we are still internally bearish. You're right. It's just obviously with the 1 minute coming into conflict with the internal structure and where we're at within, price, the probabilities just are leaning more towards buys. And again, like just because the probabilities are leaning more towards one side than the other doesn't mean that side's ultimately going to play out. That's the thing with trading, is price is going to do what it wants, and this is for everyone. Price is ultimately going to have its own objective every single day, every single session. But you're just looking to find the highest probability trades and looking, one, to trade with a good risk, because one, if probabilities don't play out in your favor, obviously you want to have good risk. But two, you play those probabilities because you are now playing with a statistical edge based off your data or based off the knowledge that you have that price is more likely to go higher than it is to go lower. And that's trading in a whole. That's trading for you guys. That's like one big thing I teach my students, guys. It's really just about probabilities. Like you're always going to find setups. Like throughout the entire day, there's always going to be setups that look good. But it's just based off probabilities. And probabilities can even like consider sessions. Like, okay, like you may see a trade in between fucking New York and Asia, right? Yes, it may look good and it may win. What are the probabilities, right? Like, are the probabilities really in your favor because you're trading at a time with very little to no volume? Like, think about it. But tell me, are any of you guys interested in instant funding? You guys can ultimately like just send a message to in here and I'll get back to you. But we're just trying to get a range of idea of who's actually interested, who's not. Because there's already a lot of people who have done instant funding. A lot of people. But ultimately, we're just trying to get a large range and idea of, who would want it, who doesn't. Interested, fire. Instant funding is definitely something I'll look into after a few more pairs when I can afford one. Fire, George. Yeah, George, you're running it up right now. What's the rules for instant funding? I can send them over to you, Mark, after stream. I got you. I'll send them over to you. All right, guys, we're going to give Price a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to go to sleep. Not necessarily stricter, but there is some differences, like in like payouts, like your first payout and stuff like that. Just because, unlike having the evaluation, like when you go through the evaluation, it gives us like when you have to pass the evaluation and then the days that you have to wait for a payout, that actually tells us that you know what you're doing and you're not just out of luck getting these wins or this payout. With the instant funding, again, you don't go through the evaluation phase, so you just go straight into the live trading. So there is some payout caps, but the more payouts you get, then that cap just disappears or it becomes larger and larger. I see they're trying to get Jer 40 on Legacy. I wouldn't doubt it, Chance. Just because a lot of people from my community, what's up ASYT, a lot of people from even the Kingdom trade. You guys can hear the police. I know my window's open. They probably are. JJ, well, like it is like live, like in the sense of like you go straight to the payout phase, but yeah, I guess you could say that. What's up ASYT, how you doing? Well, there's a consistency rule for like a regular funded account, Mr. Consistent. And then obviously like there's not a daily profit target that you have to hit, no, but there's like a profit target that you have to hit to pass the evaluation for a regular account. BTC view, I don't trade BTC. I don't really trade BTC. Like, I don't even know if I'd want to trade it. Like, I think I would definitely have to trade a little bit different just because it's crypto. Guys, I'm talking to someone in YouTube chat, by the way, so don't think I'm talking to myself. For instant funding, no, I don't believe there is. There's not a daily payout thing. Here, let me look. I'll just send it to you guys. Well, either way, I think I'm going to get off right now, guys. So everyone, I'll send it to you. I'll send it to everyone. So again, if you guys are interested, if you already said you're interested, great. But if you guys are interested in the instant accounts, you can DM me or just tell me you're interested in chat, and I can just send you over all the rules right now after stream. I'll send you guys all the rules. I'll even send you guys the pricing too, just so you can get an idea. Most is like 2, and then I see it's like 30%, 20%. Is it? I know it's like you have to make a certain amount a day for a certain, like for a couple days straight, but I'll send it over. But guys, not a bad way to end the week. I mean, obviously we haven't had a trade yet. I'm still going to be looking for DAX. I still think we could take DAX buys, but for NQ, we are just kind of starting to slow down. I mean, granted, if we do end up breaking these highs and coming back, having a pullback, you can definitely enter there. But have a great weekend, guys. Honestly, it's been great. Don't forget to go check out my YouTube video. Again, it's Niicksfx on YouTube, or you can scroll up. I did link it. If you guys comment, it just gives you guys the chance to win a free 100K account. So that's honestly a good way to get a free account. So that being said, again, DM me for instant accounts. I'll see you guys next week. Later, YouTube.